What is up, everyone? Coach Kev back tonight. I've been talking to a lot of different people, and they've asked me questions about stuff, and I think I could do it. This thing be a really long episode tonight. I mean, unless you ask a lot of questions, and if you do, that's fine. But just cover a lot of basic stuff that a lot of people know, people don't know, different things like that. As a fireman, you assume a lot of things that people know, a lot of things, and they don't. So these are things that we really, want to have people in their house, in their homes, and things like that. But before we get into that, of course, there's a lot of other things going on. I'll be real brief with that tonight. Sure, something coming up later, and if Ruck's going to be in here tonight or not, but I'd like to do something with him again. Delphi courts, people were saying maybe not this year. I'm not really surprised at that with the legal system. If people aren't familiar with, I'm not really familiar with small town legal systems, but Indiana, but like United States stuff, man, it could get extremely drug out with motions and this and that. And I was on the fence about this, but they're still investigating. I mean, they've pretty much said that, and I don't know if I should have believed them before, but I do. And I don't know. I don't know. So I believe right now there's certainly more people involved. Whether it was any actual murder, the getting away, the viewing anything, whatever, but I think there's more. So I'm kind of surprised Alan isn't talking. When I kind of looked at him with my amateur assistant to the amateur profiling skills, I saw him as a very weak guy. Unless he did it and he did it alone. I don't know. I don't see it. And I would predict with that specifications that I just said that mean nothing, that the person's going to be like a mentor type to him, or, I still think it could be somebody high up. I don't know. I don't want to be dramatic, but they don't leave us too many things. I'm going to say hi to everyone. Jinx, Kid, Paulie. Flora. How about Flora? Okay, so I made a quick 15-second short yesterday at work in between car wrecks, which we had a lot. Nobody was really hurt, luckily. A little bit of rain, but that wasn't the reason why. It was bad driving. So it's like 2.7 thousand views, and by far it's my biggest video. It's not even close. And I'm really glad that video is the one that's getting all them views, because it's a 15-second video of me saying, release the damn 911 tape. If you don't release the 911 tape, don't get pissed when people think shit up that is going on, because you can't. You know what I mean? You can't. So, and from my understanding, I'm no lawyer, but from my understanding, they don't receive the same privileges the law enforcement receive as far as ongoing investigations go. Okay, so take that for what it's worth. But I'm not seeing it at all. Something is up there. Something is definitely amiss, for sure. So, but a lot of pressure is being put on. A lot of creators are covering Flora. A lot of people are talking about it now. People that have talked about it before, people that didn't talk about it. It's gaining a lot of momentum. And you watch a lot of the just general chats that people have, true crime chats and stuff. It's coming up now. There's a lot of people injecting it, and that's good. Keep doing that. If you haven't watched me and Ruckus on Ruckus's channel, did a pretty good live where, he got them cop eyes. I'm so focused on the fire behavior. When I talk about tunnel vision and firemen, I had it watching that video because I'm so focused on that. And, I have a good idea of what happened on that fire behavior. You see the window pop less than 3 seconds later, the stairs catch it. It pulls it right there. And then from there, it's kind of crazy what we looked at and discovered there. And, that tape has to come out. What could be on that tape? I've heard rumors. I'm not going to say anything here because I don't know for sure. But if what's being said is on there, then there's a lot of people that have to fall for this. Yeah, I said Ruckus. I saw in another chat, end of another video I was catching, that me and him were going to go to a Carroll County township. I'd go. I'm pretty versed on Robert's Rules of Orders from the Union, constitutional rights. I would, I want to speak. Like, just, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, wouldn't want to go do anything violent. You don't have to. I don't think you have to. All due respect to those folks, I don't think we're dealing with the F. Lee Bailey or those types out there. No disrespect, but I don't think that's what they are. So, yeah. Yeah, kid, we're going to figure a way out. Ruckus, yeah. Joel, yeah, I talked to her. She mentioned me today. I watch a lot of her stuffs, and I like her intro music. That's I forget the guy's name. I know who it is. I don't want to seem that old. I don't really listen to any new music. I like old 90s hip hop. I'm getting off topic here. I could talk for hours, but Flora, but keep pushing it, share it on your social media, share it, Instagram, Twitter. I've been tagging people from Fox for that Steve. God damn, I should have wrote his name down. I like him a lot. He seems like a really like a pit bull type reporter from Fox 59 in Indy. I tagged the station. I'll keep doing it. Eventually, they're going to tell me to go away, or they're going to listen. And, I wanted him to see what we saw, make sure that they saw that. And I'm still kind of surprised law enforcement released that with that. But anyways, a lot of creators are pushing it out, and that's great. That's a good thing. Even if all the creators don't agree on every narrative of what happened at the fire, moving, as long as we're in the realm of, kind of reason. Now, who started it? Why did it start? How did it start? How did they cover up after? Well, I tell you what, I don't think you can put any boundaries on that. I have my own theories, and people say stuff, and other people say to me, oh, this is crazy. That, I can't rule anything out with those folks. I can't. I can tell you that there's some malfeasance, and there's certainly some cover up. 100%. If I'm wrong, I don't know. I'll wear a billboard and walk down the street naked or something. But I'm telling you, and it's going to happen. It's because people in this room, other creators causing us war. I don't think it's any one creator, one this or that. Just like it's the momentum. It's like a snowball going down a hill. And those that are trying to stop this from coming out, it's past their power, and there's nothing they can do about it. And I got a lot of people talking to me now, reaching out, great people that I was talking to before, other people from that area, and it's promising. Everyone has the same thing in their heart. So as long as you come from the right place, you got no qualms with me. We could disagree on shit, and we can, hey, this and that, but we're good. That energy is good. Okay. So I'm gonna definitely be doing something this week. Hopefully, we'll get with Rock or whatever. He's all over. He has a line. His shirts are really funny. They're sweat wicking, and I told him, well, hey, that's good for someone like me, because even though I'm with celiacs, I lost weight, I don't sweat as much. I'm still a world champion sweater in the summertime, so sweat wicking comes in handy. Okay, I'm going to do my best here to cover all this stuff. I have a video I'll play at the end. I had it on my page, and it's just kind of like an intro thing. If you go to my community page, I put a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in the slides that'll be in the video there, so you can look at them. I could send anybody anything else or whatever else you want to do. Okay, you can ask questions here, whatever the case may be. Okay, so first, I'm just going to start covering a blanket, like cover your house. So when we go and do our fire safety talks at places, the very first thing we talk about is smoke detectors in the house, right? Yeah, you're going to draw comparisons to everything we do before. I am too, but yeah, smoke detectors. Most people, I don't think most people anymore. When I first got hired, most people thought this, but with the technology and information, know that when you smell smoke, you don't wake up. When I was a kid, I thought, oh, it smells smoke. I'll jump right up. You know what I mean? But that's not the case. You go further to sleep. You don't wake up. If you take that smoking with superheated gases, it's not a medical term, but it basically like liquefies your lungs inside, because that is so hot. I mean, depending on what temperature that is. So now if you stand up, we know heat rises, and a residential structure fire could be 2,000 degrees at the ceiling. So if I'm 6'2" and I stand up, I take one breath of, 1,000 degrees, 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's over. It's over. You have to have them. Put one. Here's the bare minimum. Okay, bare minimum is one on each floor. If you could do it, put one in each bedroom. If you have two bedrooms that are close together, put in the hallway. I always like them up high. You see them sometimes on the wall, but keep in mind the smoke has to go up, hit the ceiling, bank down to get to that smoke detector. unless the wall right underneath the smoke detector catches on fire and then the smoke goes up and catches it, but that's not a good possibility. Put that son of a bitch on the ceiling where it belongs. And, I don't like the combination. This is personal opinion, not my department, not anybody else. I don't like the combination smoke and CO. Okay. CO is basically, for all intents and purposes, the same weight as regular air. Okay. That's going around. So that hovers like around your knees. So it kind of layers up before it gets up to the ceiling. So if you have a CO detector at the ceiling, you got 10 feet of CO in your house already. Put that low. I like personal preference, the electric plug-in ones. I'll get to those in a second. Smoke detector is the most important. When do you change your batteries? You want to be 100% sure they work? Change your batteries every time you change your clock, okay? Unless you live in Arizona, I don't know if there's any other states, United States, or any other places around the world that shoot the middle finger at the time change, which I think is cool about Arizona. It's kind of like a rebellious state. We ain't changing our times. You work around us. Just change them out. Now, here's the thing. The new smoke detectors, the ones that we give out from the Red Cross, you can't get to the battery anymore. You can't take it out. It's integrated into the smoke detector. So the smoke detector, the battery goes bad, you have to buy a new smoke detector. So it's smart by the smoke detector companies, maybe. Yeah, okay. People have checked in. Boogie Down's in here. Dave's everywhere. Dave would be the legend true crime chat guy, in my opinion. But either that or we like all the same channels because I'm always in watching him or channels that he's into. So if you could change them, change them. Worst case scenario, check it once a month. Once a month, if you can't reach it, you can get a broomstick and there'll be buttons on it. You push the broom up, hit the button, then it'll go off. If your smoke detector beeps every 30 seconds or every minute, it's not an emergency. It's not an alarm. Either the smoke detector itself went bad or the battery went bad. If your smoke detector is activated, if it's picked something up, heat, smoke, sometimes hairspray and stuff, sometimes sprays that you spray in your house, real sensitive ones, it'll pick that up. And that's an alarm. See, something's wrong. What did it pick up? Go to the smoke detector. Hey, what's going on? I don't see anything. Worst case scenario, if you could take it down, take it outside the fresh air, it should reset itself as long as it's not the detector's broke itself. Okay. I tell you what, Lisa, that irritates you, but if God forbid something happened at your house, they would thank you for being that neighbor that did that. I'd do that too. Carlos Corner, will smoke detectors go over cigarette smoke? Absolutely, they can. Or in McKeesport, where I'm a fireman, on occasion we get called into places, multi-apartment buildings, where multiple people live in, like in apartment buildings, different kinds of heights and widths and all kind of stuff like that. And what we call it sometimes recreational smoke. Okay, we know what recreational smoke is. We'll get on the radio and say, hey, I got a detector on here on Division 1. And it appears to smell like recreational smoke. That's marijuana or pot. Someone smokes some pot. Don't smoke it in the hallway. Smoke it in your apartment. I don't know. To me, if you're not bothering anybody, you're like, whatever. But sometimes you get that. But yeah, the right one. Yeah, we actually sometimes there's places where you can't smoke and people will smoke cigarettes, and sometimes they smoke right next to the detector. So I'm not saying you should ever try to sneak a cigarette in a building you're not allowed to smoke in. But if you decide to make that call, don't do it underneath the smoke detector because it's going to go off. Yeah, they're sensitive. That's what you want. Now, bigger buildings where I live at, they have to be interconnected. So if you have a house that has multiple apartments, if one detector goes off, well, they don't have to be. I shouldn't say not in every case, but most are. If one goes off, they all go off. So if you have a little fire in the basement of one unit, the guy all the way up here, he'll know about it because his will go off too. And you don't have to hardwire them anymore. You don't have to run a wire. You can connect them with Wi-Fi now. So there's no excuse not to have them. I just go back to Florida. Yeah. Smoke detectors work and make a difference. Absolutely. I believe they do. I believe that they do. I do. But make sure in your house you have them. Minimum one on each floor. You want to have one in the basement. Don't put it near the furnace. Dust kicks up and stuff. You want to have a CO alarm down there too. Don't put that near the furnace. Everyone's furnace probably puts out a little bit of CO if it runs on natural gas. Carbon monoxide is created anytime that natural gas is burnt. Anytime natural gas is burnt, a byproduct is carbon monoxide. So think about anything in your house that runs on natural gas. How is it vented? Well, think about your stove. Is your stove vented? Well, everyone's stove isn't vented out of the house, but the natural gas comes out and it's immediately burnt, immediately burn off. So it doesn't get the chance to linger. Well, there could be a little bit, but if the ratings are low, really low, it's okay. Your furnace, okay? You have a chimney or the newer ones, the pipe goes out the side of the house. That's what we have around here. Yeah, Dave, justice for Flora. They smoked a lot in the apartment. Well, Carlo, what I read from things was that Galen herself didn't smoke, but she allowed people to smoke there once the children went to bed. They went up to bed. I guess I don't know if it was inconvenient to go outside. I go outside at my house, just because I don't want my house to smell. But I don't know. But yeah, but the smoke detectors definitely were not working. One didn't have a battery in it, and the other one with a battery didn't work. Keep in mind, the smoke detector, if what I see is correct on the sketches that people send me, guys, keep sending me stuff because it's awesome. It was put right outside the kitchen. You don't put it there because what do people do? They take the battery out because it goes off when you cook because that smoke detectors are sensitive. So you have to assume that things like that are going to happen. So you could put it in the dining room, but you put it on the other side of the dining room. And usually that if the smoke's going that far, something's way wrong. Mom just didn't burn the turkey. Some shit's on fire in there. And if you watch my video, I shared a video on my community page. We'll roll into this. Grease fires. Don't ever put water on a grease fire. Go to my community page. Watch. There's a video that's. I am shocked that they let this news reporter and this fireman with no gear on do this because they almost get burnt. I bet you their eyebrows or their eyelashes got singed. I could almost guarantee it. He just gives the reporter a cup of water. And she throws it in this pan and it's just. Like he knew it was going to do it. He almost falls out of the way too. I'm shocked they let that happen, but that's what happens. Exactly what happens. The grease is floating. It's burning on top. You're disrupting that thermal layering and you're pushing it all out. So what do you do for a grease fire? Best thing you could do is put the lid on the pot. If you have the ability to put the lid on it, put the lid on it. Once the lid's on it, turn off the gas, or even if it's electric, turn off the electric. I know the electric's still going to stay hot for a minute till it cools off, but that's okay. You're removing something, you're moving that heat. Eventually it's going to go out and you're smothering it. Now, if it's already poured out of the pot, now you have to put that out. You still have to control what's in the pot. So control what's in the pot. And then if stuff has gone out and it's rolling, hey, Julia, in Dave, sit through the meetings. Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, today's material, and I learned this, I came on the job 20 years ago. It was even different then. Today's material burns so fast. If you go to YouTube and look up video like old couch versus new couch burning, an old couch, let's say, would take, I'm guesstimating here, probably 7 minutes to be fully engulfed. If you just started like a little fire in a corner, it could be less, it could be 5, but the new couches are like 45 seconds or minute 25. It's so cheaper material, and the material that off gases, you're talking hydrogen and cyanide and shit like that. So it's immensely toxic, not like it used to be. Yeah. Carla, you're 100% right. I think a lot of people were asking me questions about fire safety. I think to get a gauge on Flora, what should have been done here. And everything that I know, I don't even think they had to do it because the codes were just jokes or non-existent at the time. But no, there was no moral taking care of that place whatsoever by those landlords, morally. And how do you judge morals? Well, I have a compass, and my compass says, all due respect to everyone there, they had no moral judgment. Well, all we got to do is put the detectors up. We don't have to check the batteries. Batteries? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Anyone knows this, like it sells batteries? Maybe got a hardware store or something, maybe. I don't know, possibly. I don't know. Mattress. Oh, I didn't know that, Dave. Hopefully that's a good thing. Baking soda is good, Jinx. Again, if you could get that lid, the lid is the best thing. Okay, and then remove the heat and wait. Don't try to move that pot right away because that things are going to be harder than shit. We use fire gloves and we'll move it out. We'll take it outside or whatever. A lot of times too, we talk about the positive pressure fan. Go back to Flora, right? When the chief says, "Oh, we were using positive pressure ventilation," well, you couldn't have been, because in order to do that, you need a fan, and there was no fan. Clearly, there was no fan, so that wasn't happening. People will burn shit in their kitchen. We'll put a fan in their front door. We'll open the back door or open one window and turn that fan on, and it'll blow that smoke out within minutes. It's pretty cool how it is. As a fireman, don't really ask me to explain the science. I know how to do it, and I know that it works. But if you're going to do that on fire attack, remember, you have to have firemen inside ready to go, or at least at the porch with a charge line. And you cannot just break windows for the sake of breaking windows. You're not the dragon at the end of Shrek in the church, and there's one window, and you look around and you have to break it. So, don't, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, moving on, because we're fire safety tonight. Extinguishers. One of the slides I shared was extinguishers. So if I'm buying an extinguisher for my house, I'm going to buy an ABC extinguisher. ABC, what does all that mean? Real quick and real easy. It's not hard. And if I can recite it in my sleep, then it's definitely nothing difficult to recite, believe you me. Class A fires, Class A extinguisher, Class A fire, wood, paper, your shirt, anything like that, normal material. Class B is any burning liquids that are on fire, currently on fire. A Class C, charged electric. Your TV's plugged in and it's on fire. Class D is burning metal. You shouldn't have any burning metal in your house. However, a lot of these new car batteries have metal in them, these smart cars, different things like that. So if you have an integral garage, or you park your car like right next to your house, like maybe like on a side, I don't even know what you call them. It's like a little driveway in between houses. Then that could be an issue, because you can't just put that out with water. You have to like bury it in water. New York City has like roll-off dumpsters full of water, and they bring them to these car fires, and they have like a crane, and they pick up these little smart cars and drop them in this dumpster and leave them in there until they literally like just completely smother that battery. But you get an extinguisher. Most that you buy, the red ones, will say ABC. So if you have one of those extinguishers in your house, you can put out a regular fire. Say your trash can catches on fire, covered. Say there's some kind of burning liquid in your house. Okay. Burning liquid. I'm not talking about oils and grease. Could you use an ABC extinguisher on a grease fire? If you really knew what you were doing, yeah, but be careful with that. Again, try to use that. We know what we're doing. I don't even put my thumb over it, because I don't want to plunge in. As soon as I plunge in, it's going to pour out. So when you throw your salt or your stuff on top, that doesn't happen. You're not plunging it in. But if you take an extinguisher, you plunge it in there, that fire is going to just like volcano out, regardless of what you're using, unless you have a specific extinguisher I'll talk about later. ABC for your house is great. 10 pound, 14, 12 pound, whatever is great. The other extinguisher is a Class K, which is specifically for cooking oils and cooking oil equipment. Restaurants have it. If you do a lot of frying in your house, it could be worth getting. Extinguishers could be anywhere from on sale like $9.99 for a tiny cheap one to up to like maybe $50 or $75. I don't think you need to go that high, but it's not bad to have one in your basement. Buy a couple. And coming up when we change the clocks, I just was telling people, we just put smoke detectors up. I'm going to talk more about why we put smoke detectors up in a second. And they were asking about CO detectors, which we don't get from the Red Cross. We can't give them out. I wish we could. When you change the clocks back, because everybody's focused on their smoke detectors, they're checking the batteries. There's sales. Everybody has sales. Where I'm at, we have Rite Aid, which is like a CVS, where Alan worked at from Delphi. They'll have a sale. Home Depot, every store that sells smoke detectors and CO alarms, they'll be on sale because everybody's checking them. So if you don't have any and you're looking for, to purchase some, go ahead and or you can wait, till the end of March or whatever it is now, unless you're in Arizona, and we don't care about your time change. And there might be, I'm sure there's other places too. And the rebel in me likes that. But you grab some then. Extinguishers too. And the other time is October, because that's fire safety month. That's when we hit the schools a lot. So if you read after the fires in Florida, the Red Cross came in and they joined up with fire departments and had a drive and gave people smoke detectors. we had the same thing happen with us when we lost 4 girls, a mom and a dad. A guy lit paper towels, threw them in the house, and burnt them to death. He made a plea with the district attorney for not enough years, but he was obviously caught dead to rights, admitted it. I was drunk and blah blah blah. Turkey sailing. Send a turkey sailing. Oh, we're talking. Okay, give me one. I have a buddy that I just saw Saturday night. He has a good story at a Steeler game. But so I see the parallels. They came in McKeesport and we did the same thing. We've given out, and I don't even know the exact number, but since right around the same time, if that was 2017 or 16, I believe that was 16. But they initiated this program, so we gave somebody out. We get them all the time. We have a ton of fires, very busy fire department with very limited medical calls. We run all fire and wrecks and shit. We're busy, and we've probably given out anywhere, I don't know, maybe around 5,000 to 10,000 since then. It's a great program we have, and we actually started doing it. Our chief started doing it when we have fires, like especially in poor neighborhoods or with a lot of dilapidated houses around. We go around after, we'll hand flyers out and knock on doors and say, hey, the firemen, we'll come we put them up. We don't just give them to you. And so, yeah, we'll do that. And that's the same thing that happened in Florida. And, we were watching pretty much everyone, I think, at work. Maybe a crew today working hasn't seen it because they're opposite us. But everyone who saw that Florida tape, and we've all had almost the same exact thoughts to a T, to a man, from what we saw and from how it made us feel. Because anyways, we'll get more into that. So do that. CO alarms, you want to have one in each bedroom if possible. It's that important. CO has no odor. Remember that. So you'll never know. Some signs of CO poisoning, you get headache, reddish skin. You start to feel that, and that's maybe in the wintertime and your heater's been running. May get outside, get some fresh air. But if multiple people are feeling that, you need to go to fresh air and just call 911. Wherever you are, wherever your fire department is, paid volunteer, they'll come run a meter. They don't care. Not a big deal. We'll rather do that than not know. But you would know from a CO alarm. You could spend, again, from like $9 to probably $50 or $60. Some of them are digital. I prefer the ones to plug in because they're less maintenance, and in my opinion, they last longer. However, they have battery operated ones too. I'm trying to catch up here. Do I need to? Oh, hold on. I'm doing my best. Oh, the deep fried turkey. So a buddy of mine, he's a drummer, Chris, retired fireman. He's a drummer's now with my deputy chief. We saw him Saturday night in a band. He goes to a Steeler game. He has a turkey. We're going to fry a turkey. He didn't thaw the turkey out. He gets there at like 7 o'clock. Oh, no, it's going to take a while to cook. And everyone's like, doesn't take a while to cook, Chris, but whatever. So he puts the turkey in frozen, and it makes the turkey shoots up and leaves. It looks like a rocket took off. I wasn't there. This is at a Pittsburgh Steeler game in the parking lot. He said it looked like a rocket took off in the parking lot, like it left marks. So he learned not to do it. Get some comments up here. Do I need to change fire extinguisher? No, you know what? See what your meter reads, and every so often, maybe every month or every 2 months or something like that, flip it over if it's a powder and make sure it doesn't get caked up at the bottom. You're not going to hurt anything by doing that. That's a routine thing. We tell that to people all the time. You could recharge them too. The ones you buy at Home Depot and those, you're not going to recharge those. Which you'll see rechargeable ones if you work at a business and they have them all around your business, or you go in a grocery store. There's companies that come in and they'll check them, and that's what they do. I've seen what they do. They turn them over, and if they're not caked up and the thing's good, here you go. You're good to go again. And unless that runs out of that green where your air pressure is, that shows a leak. So, no, they're good for indeterminate at a time. Flipping it over definitely helps. Kid answers you too. House fire. Oh, started in the garage. Space heater. Yeah, the space heaters, if they're used properly, are okay. They've made a lot of progress with them. We see what people do sometimes. You got to plug those things right into the wall. Don't plug them into an extension cord. And people will put stuff near them or on them, and you would think, well, how hot can that get? Well, what you're doing is you're blocking that air, and you're making like that heater itself inside overheat. That's catching on fire. It's not necessarily to catch your clothes on fire, but you're blocking that. You can't block that airflow in there, and that'll make the thing overheat. A lot of them have sensors on them to kick off, but not always. Yeah, Lisa's nervous about nothing wrong with that. But again, you could use them. Be smart. I used to have one upstairs with the kids when they were younger. It was a small one. I still have them. Looking at it right now. We really don't need to use it anymore. But it would go up to a certain temperature, then it would kick off. And we had a thing on it where if it got knocked over, it would kick off. And if it got knocked over, if it fell one way, would it cause a problem? And actually, if it fell where the heat end came down, it would have been okay because it would not have been hot enough to set that carpet on fire. But the back is where the vent was. So when that vent and that airflow gets blocked, the heater itself catches on fire. Now, some of these old ones, yeah, it's different. And when you plug these things into an extension cord and then into a wall that has one of them octopus, this used to be 2 plugs. Now it's 36. That shit catches on fire, melts. And then whatever that's touching is going to catch on fire too. So be very careful. Dave, a Steelers fan. Stop, drop, and roll is good advice. But we were talking, that was me and you, I think, talking on that, my community page or something. So we would go to schools and we would tell little kids, and we would ask them, what do you do when your house catches on fire? And they would tell us, stop, drop, and roll. No, your house is on fire. You're not on fire. You get out of the house. But once we explained that to them, then they get it. Yeah, stop, drop, and roll. If your clothes catches on fire, when you roll, cover your face too. And if no one's around, yell. You're going to be yelling. Probably anyway, but try to yell and alert somebody. Hey, something's going wrong here. Do your best to cover your face. People would run, and when they run, it's just causing more air. That air is the best accelerant a fire can get. I need to explain that to you for any kind of fire questions of any kind. Think about it this way: if I dump gasoline on a fire, how much gasoline can I dump on a fire? Let's say a tanker truck. If I have something lit that's going to be able to stay lit as long as I feed some kind of accelerant at it, well, air's everywhere. You're never going to run out of air, right? So to me, that's like the worst accelerant. Again, firefighters' worst weather is a windy day. It's a windy day. So Boogie, hope I answered that for you. But those kids would say that, we say your house is on fire. What do you do? Stop, drop, and roll. No. Is your clothes on fire? No. Why would you stop, drop, and roll? Get out. And when we tell people to get out, where do you go? And it's interesting because you ask kids first. You ask kids first, what would you do? Where do you go? Well, I go running out of the house yelling or whatever the case. Grab my hamster. I grab my PlayStation. You get real responses. I like to do that. And I say, listen, the insurance can get you a new PlayStation. The insurance gets you new shoes, new coat. Pets, yeah, if you could grab your pet by all means, leave the, I don't know. Dogs stay with the owners, or if it doesn't know the owner's out, it'll stay in the house. I've seen that many times. We've had to drag dogs out of the house because it thinks the owner's there. And as soon as it gets out, it sees the owner and it's out of there. My girlfriend has a cat, but cats are gone. See ya. They're down the street. Although in recent years, there's been 2 fires we have where cats have alerted people that there was a fire. They jumped on them. And these cats weren't your typical cats that walk around and knock your drink over. They were good cats. And they said, I don't know where this cat jumps on us at 3 a.m. We wake up like, what in the hell? And here their house was on fire. That was a cat that jumped on him. And the other one was the cat was just running around their room, knocking stuff over. And it did it sometimes. The homeowner actually said to me, he's like, yeah, he's pretty good. Sometimes he's like a little bit of a jag-off, a Pittsburgh thing, jag-off. But he was just boom, boom, knocking stuff over. Woke up and looked at him like, what are you doing? And then seen the smoke. So, but pets, we'll do your best to get pets. But kids, your insurance company could give you a lot of money, but they can't replace you or anyone else that you live with in that house. The house can be replaced. It sucks. You lose everything. I've seen it happen. It's horrible. But the end of the day, you have everyone together. That's what's most important. We try to tell people that. Like I was telling people the other day, we try to we'll get pictures, diplomas, medicine. important stuff like that, heirlooms, wedding dresses I've taken out of houses, all kind of stuff that are important to people that maybe we don't think, hey, there's a plate, there's a green plate in that. Yeah, grab it, take it out. The lady one, okay, and then you take it to her, and she's like, oh my God, my grandma gave me this. It's always good to do that for sure. What were you just going to talk? Oh, escape plan. So yeah, when you get outside, even before you get outside, let's say, escape plan. How do you get out of the house if there's a fire? The best way to get out of the house is the way that you normally come in and out. Obviously, I don't think anyone needed me to tell them that, but you need to know how to get out another way. If that way is blocked, say there's a fire in your downstairs living room right in front of the front door. You're upstairs, you wake up, you can't go out the front door. You have to go out a window. In your bedroom, if you're able to, close the bedroom door, or if you just see the fire from downstairs, maybe you have a chance you can gather people up, get to a porch roof. You can get to a porch roof, that's great. Firemen are going to see you there. When an incident commander gets on the scene as a fire chief that's running the call, he doesn't go inside. He doesn't grab the nozzle. He doesn't have an air pack. He'll walk outside with a radio. And one of the first things he has to do is a 360. He walks all the way around the building to make sure there's not something in the back. Oh, there's a gasoline tanker parked in the back that we didn't know about. Well, he's going to know about that from the door. He's going to know, oh, shit, whatever the case, let's bring the hose back here and let's push the fire the other way. So you have to do the 360 first, okay? So hopefully he's going to see that, and, the tactics kind of go from there. But when you get out of the house, you don't go run screaming into the street. You need to have a meeting place. This is important, whether you have kids, whether it's you and your wife, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether there's 20 people in your house, okay? Hey, Frosty's here. What's up, Frosty? If I missed anybody else, I'm doing my best to keep up. Worst case scenario, if I hopefully I don't miss anything, but I'll come back later and answer it. So you have a place to meet. Now, if you live in an inner city area or a condensed city like I do, you might have a house close to you or two houses close to you. So let's not say the neighbor's porch on the right or left, if that's the situation. If there's an empty lot, yeah, that's okay. Let's meet across the street. Let's meet at the fire hydrant at the end of the street. This does multiple things. Number one, if mom or dad or anybody for that matter is outside and thinks that someone in their family's stuck, they're going to roll the dice a lot of times. And I've seen it. I've seen police and firemen holding people back because their family member was in there, and we felt for them. We didn't want to do that, but, you can't go back. We have the gear. We have a shot. Not always do we get it, but we have a shot. You don't at all. And it's not even the burning. It's the smoke. It's going to drop you to your knees. So, have the meeting place for your mom and dad too, or for grandma, grandpa, whoever you live with. Because there's a fire, you might go out different ways. Everybody meets. Okay, everybody's good. I don't have to run in there. Our house is on fire, and that's horrible, but we're out. We're there. How does that help the fire department? When a deputy chief pulls up, ideally, for us, I say deputy, it could be a captain, a ranking officer, depending on your department. He pulls up, ideally pulls up first, and then in the command vehicle, which is like a pickup truck or something like that. So they get there faster, okay? They can get there, size up the scene, say, okay, engine, I need you to do this. Truck, I need you to do this, or whatever the case may be. He could make a face-to-face contact with somebody from the house, and they could say, everybody's out. I got everybody right here, okay? Okay, the fire was in the back. I don't know what happened. Did you close the door the room was in? No, yes, okay. That's huge to do. If you ever have to run out of your house or your place of business and you can close the door behind you, do that, because that's going to help contain that fire, at least for the first 8 to 10 minutes, tremendously. Even that wooden door. What's it blocking? What's that wooden door, that sometimes even hollow wooden door? What's it blocking? It's blocking the firefighter's most feared accelerant, which is air. It's air, breathing air, ambient air. So again, you get out, have a place to stay, let the fire chief know, hey, everyone's out. So all we got to do is put the fire out. That's hard enough to do. But if we think someone's there, and if we have good intel would be a mother screaming for her kids in front of her house to everybody, for everyone to hear. And they're right there in that room. They're right there. I know they're there because it's the middle of the night and I know they're sleeping. They are right there. Right there? They're right at that window, yeah. as firemen, yeah, I'd like to be able to go in and my first guys go in. Can we make it to that stairwell? If we can't make it to that stairwell, as I come out, someone's already going to be throwing a ladder up there. Okay. And here's the reason why we do that. We'll throw ladders when no one's inside. Why? Because that might be the fireman's last way to get out, his way of egress. So if you look at some big departments, New York, Boston, San Francisco with their wooden ladders they make, you throw those ladders because that might be your buddy's last way out too. But if you know someone's in there, I can get there right now. There isn't fire coming out of that window. I can get in that window and at least maybe take one of my pike poles and take the sharp end and hold it toward me and move it around the room. They're 6 foot long. I feel something, boom, I crawl over. Okay, we could get them out this window. At least there's air there. They weren't able to make the stairs. Obviously, Yoder wasn't able to make the stairs as we looked at that. But, that's when that happens and mom's in the street screaming, they're up there in that room. That's good intel. We're going with that every single time because that's real. That she knows it's that, especially in the middle of the night. Okay. Ruckus is here. What's up, Ruckus? What did we have? I'm going to tell you a quick story, Dave. The guy that was commenting last time, my buddy Gene, he's a deputy chief now, moved crews, would rather take the promotion and work with me. And I don't blame him. He's one of our best guys, a great leader, well known around our area. I'm good, Ruckus. How are you? But anyways, he oh man, I keep talking over here and I forget what I was just talking about. Oh, we're driving to a car wreck, which actually wasn't far from my house on the main street. It's about 3:00 in the morning. We're in our older ladder truck, the E1. I'm driving, I'm cooking because it sounds bad. Entrapment, it's 3:00 in the morning. Figure people were drunk, high rate of speed. A car somehow lodged into a hillside. Okay, we're moving. We get to a straightaway coming out of downtown, and there's a car. I could see it. It jumps in the other lane, and it's moving on me. I could barely make out what it is. It's going past. I'm lights and sirens, probably 50 miles an hour in this ladder truck, 45 miles an hour in this ladder truck, and this car's just gone. We get on the radio and say, hey, listen, this car's flying into the scene. We didn't know what they were doing. So we get there, and they're like, oh, it was my friend or whatever. And they pass us with lights on. Me and him actually had to go to court. The person lost their license for like 30 days. I actually think that was it. They didn't wreck or anything. They're like, oh, that was my family. That was my family. Like, listen, what are you going to do to help your guy? He literally drove his car into a hillside, and he's stuck. How are you going to get him out? You're not, because you don't have a Hirsch tool. You don't have hydraulic power tools. So you're not going to be able to help him. Ruckus is here. Ruckus, I was just saying we got to talk. Was pumping your shirts out that are sweat wicking because that's an important material to me. Step store, you know what? Or get a broomstick. I think you should be able to do it with a broomstick, Jinx. Really, you should be able to. Or if you have a relative that comes over or something like that, hey, hit that for me real fast or something. A neighbor, someone you trust. But we usually tell people broomsticks. Does every truck have at least one manual extension ladder? Every fire truck I've ever seen has one. Yeah, even the pumpers do. Absolutely. Yeah, actually, most of them have multiple. There's the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Agency. They put out like standards, which if you follow them, they'll give you no lease. So I actually work 24/72. We have a lot better schedule than that. That means we work 24 hours on, 72 off. What Lisa said here is, do I work 24 on, 48 off, which is a schedule a lot of people work. But back to Ruckus's thing here. Yeah, we have not even extension ladders. There's ground ladders too. So we have a carry, 14 foot, a 16 foot, 24 foot, 35 foot, an attic ladder, a roof ladder. Roof ladders have hooks on the top, so you could hook them over to peak. So when you're working on it, I actually tried to find their complement of what they carried, Ruckus, and believe it or not, it wasn't listed anywhere. Now, that's not something that everyone lists, but with all the other data we can't find. But I would bet they had to have some kind of ladder. And they're like, oh, it was an engine or whatever it was. Yeah, unless it was some kind of brush truck that maybe they didn't, but they would have maybe an attic ladder. But why would you bring a brush truck to a house fire, right? I'm pretty sure it was an engine from what I could tell. And there's no way that engine did not have some kind of ground ladder on it. Now, did they not have an extension ladder? But all you had to do was get to the porch roof, which I think if you had a 16-foot ground ladder, even on the one side, it was a little bit elevated. I think you could have got to that porch roof. If you're on a porch roof, you're in the window, right? If you're on a porch roof, you're in the window. So I would have to say yes, Ruckus, in my opinion, without knowing exactly what they carry. Every other fire truck, let me tell you, if it's a pumper, a truck, a quint, whatever, yes, all of them carry. Some of them carry more, some of them carry less. I would have to say absolutely. Indy Pam, absolutely no problem. Yeah, a lot of people have asked me about stuff like this, so I think it's interesting. Okay, meeting place, bedroom door, sleep with your bedroom door closed for fire purposes. When my kids were younger, they were knuckleheads, so they made them sleep with their door open and mine. My room was right by theirs, and me being the hero that I think that I am, there are no fires going to get between me and them, and luckily it never did, and hopefully it never does. But for fire reasons, you keep that door closed. It's a huge, huge asset to you. You can Google pictures, fires and bedroom door closed, and it'll show you pictures of the rest of the upstairs, and they'll open the bedroom door and show you there'll be a soot line around the top wherever the smoke gets in, because the heat and the smoke goes up. So that soot line will be around the top of the room. But other than that, unless the whole house burns down, it's literally unburnt. So as far as that fire safety goes, sleeping with your door closed is huge. And again, it's a wooden door. It doesn't have to be really a crazy thing. It's going to give you a few minutes at least. And again, what's it stopping? It's stopping air, the ultimate accelerant that we just don't want to, we don't want to have it. Okay. People living in attics, if you have people talk about those ladders, you throw them chain ladders down. Has anyone ever tried to climb one of those son of a bitches? For quite a few years in my younger days, I wasn't really, really in good shape. I mean, my weight's down, but the muscle tone isn't what it used to be. But those things are tough to climb up. And but would you attempt it? Yeah. A staircase of some sort, metal, a fire escape is your best bet. So yeah, not exactly what you should be doing. Just be aware, just be careful of it. Practice getting out. If you have kids up there, hey, we're gonna shut the lights out. Practice crawling over here, because what if the power goes out and there's a fire? You got to crawl over to the steps to get out. So whatever the case may be. Don't block egress. People will block different ways out, like in their basement. They'll have a bunch of stuff stacked up, or even like an extra door out the back. Always leave that open, because you never know. It might be your last chance to get out. Who knows where the fire is going to go, what it's going to do. Okay. Knob and tube wiring, if anyone still has that, that's really bad. You want GFIs. What are GFIs? GFIs, if you don't have any in your house, say you go to a restaurant in a bathroom and you look at the plug and there's like a little red dot with like a little red square. What happens is that'll kick in and out. So let's say you have a toaster plugged in right by a sink, which you probably shouldn't, and that toaster falls in the sink. Once that electrical current spikes, that little red thing is going to kick that breaker out. It's going to take away power to that. Where if you didn't have a GFI, you got a problem now, because you have that charged, you have the water conducting the electricity from the toaster through the plug into your wall, and who knows how far after that. So GFIs are huge. You might not even know you have them. Sometimes they pop. You plug something in and it doesn't work. There's a little button. If you push it in, there's a spring and you'll hear it like click in, as long as it isn't broken or it isn't faulting continuously for some reason. If it is, get it checked. Side reference to floor, multiple electrical issues. I'm not ready to say exactly what I think happened there yet. Like, I need to see more pictures, but multiple electric issues, more delinquency by the property owners that they didn't fix what they were supposed to fix, reported by multiple tenants, not just Galen. So, okay. Grease fires we talked about already. Oven fires. So say you have a fire in your oven, even if you see flames or whatever in your oven, the worst thing you could do is open that oven door. What are we doing? We're introducing fire's favorite stimulant, air. Hey, so that's going to fill that up, and you sometimes can feel, especially in a house fire, you can feel that rush of air. It almost sounds like a wave in the ocean, like it's pulling, like, oh shit, like what are we going to do here? Do we make a miscalculation or what's happening? But keep it closed if you can. It will smother and it will go out. Now, if you have access, once to say you have actual fire going, if you have access to reach your power source in the back, whether you unplug it, And a lot of them you plug into, it runs your clock and different things like that. Unplug it, and what you should have on your gas line attached to your stove, and anywhere else you have a gas line for that matter in your house, is a quarter turn valve. So you don't want that thing that spins like a spigot, like a hose outside. You want a valve that when it's in line, when the valve's like this, the pipe is like this, that means it's open. So then I close the valve, I go like this, and this is the pipe. Now it's closed. So I'm going to turn it a quarter of the way. I don't have to sit there and turn the spinners off. Old ones, we've got going to shut people's stoves off, and you go and you just spin it, and it just rolls off. Oh shit, what do we do now? Well, open the windows up and try to go find another place to shut the gas off. Sometimes it isn't till the curb. Sometimes people have shutoffs down low. So quarter turn valves, also good with water because water could do a lot of damage. And if you could just cut that off instead of spinning that. Imagine you have a bad water break and you got to spin your shutoff valve and it spins off. Like, oh shit, what do I do? Those quarter turns, they're very inexpensive. You have any kind of plumber doing anything like that. Ruckus, yeah, I've seen fires like that start. And what I've seen multiple times in my career, when water's run through light fixtures, a lot of times, especially bigger light fixtures, whether it's kitchen area, dining room area, the light fixtures, they'll fall right on the table and light that table on fire, and they'll pull the wiring out. And if that wiring continues to stay attached and doesn't rip free, now you have a hole in the ceiling that fire is going up into. So that fire is like traveling, from one room upstairs without jumping into the other room. It can happen. So yeah, electric and the wiring. If you ever notice that and you see water coming in, maybe your tub's leaking or whatever the case may be, go downstairs and just shut your break, shut everything off, call the fire department. Because probably what they'll do is they'll be able to come and they'll isolate that breaker. And they'll figure out this is the breaker. Just leave this breaker off. We shut the water off, cleaned it up. Maybe you can use power in the rest of your house or things like that will do for people. A plumbing we will go. You're right, Dave. And the Three Stooges fire episode was awesome, right? That was one of my favorites. I don't know, kid. Climatech doesn't sound like an electrical company to me, although where I'm from, a lot of those places have both because a lot of the works, like you have to do both. I haven't found a lot of Climatech stuff. I haven't really started looking. I mean, but instantly there's weird stuff. Like the first thing you find, it's always like that. Like, oh, what? But so I have no determination on anything there. But yeah, I don't know. That's a possibility. Maybe they didn't. I'm sure there was people doing work on that house. There was people there early on. Remember, I don't know where the company was from. They noted multiple things after the fact. Oh, I noticed this. I noticed that was wrong with it. But they weren't working on those things. And, maybe being a handyman or whatever, you're there, you do your job. I'm not finding fault with them. I'm sure they feel a lot of guilt after the fact, but they noticed multiple things that weren't up with it. So they weren't very good landlords. And I know a lot about that because our city, unfortunately, has a lot of them. We have some really good ones and we have some really shitty ones. And, that's just the fact of the matter. I always threaten to tell people, like, listen, we're just going to shut this building down, get a bus and send everyone to the Sheraton. No, you're not. Oh, you don't think we can do that? Watch us. We can do that. And we'll shut your building down because it's a piece of shit. So fix it for these people. A lot of people see poor people. Oh, they don't deserve to have, who cares what they have? We see that a lot here in our town. I'm like, well, they're people too. And they're my people. And you come in and, you go back to your ivory castle and your rental, no, you ain't getting away with that shit here. Just my 2 cents on slumlords, which we unfortunately see a lot. But we do have a lot of really good ones too. Really, really good ones. One of them I used to coach in basketball a couple of years ago, and he's already land baron. So, okay, grill fires. You have a grill on fire outside. Keep the lid closed if you can. Shut the propane off if you can. I've seen people kick them over. Well, it depends what you're kicking them over into. If there's an open field, I can see maybe the thought process, and now you're going to lose all your food. You're worried about it. If it's really getting out of control, it's on your house. Keep it closed and think about what's burning, the propanes. If you could shut that propane off and remove it, and maybe throw some water on your house if stuff starts to melt or whatever. But if you get that propane cut, whatever's burning there is eventually going to go. Don't open it up unless you're ready to put some kind of agent on it that you have, probably some kind of chemical powder. And if you need to do it, do it. If I did that, I had a friend ask me a while ago, he had to do that at his house. Is there any way to clean that? I said, I wouldn't clean it. I'd throw the grill away after I dumped that dry chem on there. I really wouldn't. Yeah, they are within 10 feet of water. 10 feet of water in my city. That's the code. You have to have a GFI if it's within 10 feet of water, any kind of water source. Kid. Well, with kid, would that be something that would be listed there too? I wouldn't be shocked at all at that. Not at all. Yeah, I even looking at, I think what you were saying there, Lisa, I agree with, because even looking at pictures prior to that, well, you saw the steps collapse later, but even pictures prior to that, I don't know, it didn't look like what I think it should look at. Okay, washer dryer. Number one thing we see with washer dryer fires, but because the lint trap's not cleaned out. Clean it out every single time. Then you don't have to worry about it, right? Takes 2 seconds. Have a little garbage bag there. I have a garbage bag or a little garbage can. Whoosh, boom, out, done. Don't let it get built up, because that shit catches on fire. Don't let it happen, please. And again, you have a gas-fed dryer. Make sure it's vented right, and make sure that you have that exhaust going outside. That doesn't get blocked up. That exhaust catches on fire. If you have a bunch of lint build up in there, I've seen that catch on fire, and we've had people's lines. You should have a galvanized piece really going out, and then that also vents it too. So if you walk by someone's house and they're doing like at least where I'm from, and they're doing like their laundry or the running the dryer, you could like smell like the dryer sheet outside. It's pretty cool. Well, I guess that's a nice little thing, but make sure all that stuff isn't blocked. Blocking things or blocking airflow is bad in 100 different ways. Yeah. Okay, hot water tank we talked about. Make sure that vents too. It has a good vent on it. CO, we talked about that. Cars. We'll talk about cars real quick. Sorry, kick the table. If no one else has any house questions or anything like that. Mice could do a lot of damage. And in cities like this, sometimes in the buildings downtown, rats, they chew through stuff. Listen, I've been on multiple calls where I've seen squirrels. Was it squirrels? Raccoons. Sorry, raccoons go up and get stuck in power lines and zap themselves and like knock out a city's power. I saw once in the summertime. I was probably on a job about 5 years, and the people actually had a video. It was running up the line. They don't know if it was a rabid raccoon or what it was, but it was running up the line. And usually you don't see them in the daytime. So it's running up his power line, and it gets to the transformer, and it just hits it and it knocks out city power for quite a bit. I've seen birds do it too. And you know those balloons, those Mylar balloons you like get at the dollar store, they go up in the power lines. They're gonna trip the line almost every time if they touch it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Cars, wear your seatbelt. Don't text. Things that I've done that I've seen people doing that cause car wrecks. I've seen them. I swear to God, women put makeup on, contact lenses in, guys, everybody. A guy making a sandwich was probably the funniest. He had bread, a loaf of bread. He was coming from our local store. It's called Giant Eagle, a local grocery store here. He had a pound of like chipped ham. Chipped ham, and if you're from around here, you know what chipped ham is. It's awesome. It's like instead of like a thick ham slice, it's like shaved. And it's just, I don't know if anyone else eats it except people around Pittsburgh. Google chipped ham. So he had this thing of chipped ham, cheese. He had mustard and everything. Like he's like a Dijon, like a squeeze. And he was making a sandwich. And he was like, I'm sorry, I was just so hungry. And he wrecked into it. He had a pole. He didn't do a ton of damage to the car. Didn't hit no one else. Wasn't drunk. Wasn't high. Nothing like that. And told us right away what he was doing. And I'm like, buddy, I mean, I'm not saying even this is safe. Why don't you make the sandwich in the parking lot and drive away and eat it? At least it's only one hand. He's like, yeah. You know, so I've seen that. A guy cause a wreck. Newspaper. Yeah, well, there ain't too many newspapers left, Dave. But yeah, I've seen that. Magazines. Just, don't do that stuff. Yeah, with cars and everything, be safe. Make sure your kids are anchored in if they're younger. Follow the restrictions. On car seats, don't worry about the age as much. It'll say 3 to 6. Well, how do you know that that 6-year-old doesn't weigh whatever amount of pounds? So look at the weight. Look at the weight on it. The weight tells it, or the height, or sometimes you get both. Basically, what a car seat does, once a kid's front facing, it serves its purpose because he's not heavy, so he's going to get jerked around, so it's going to keep him stable, and it makes the seatbelt fit him right. That's the raise. That's what the raise up for. You don't want that seatbelt up here. You want it to fit right across where you fit it. You know what I mean? So so it's going to give you the full. And then once your seats are anchored in and stuff like that, my mom was just my mom and dad were buying a new truck tonight. I'm like, I hope they could get the seat out because I don't know how to get it out. So Mom, they'll figure it. There's tethers to go back. And if you stick your hands through the back seat of your car, you'll feel like poles. And some of them have poles. I think they all have like the hooks now. I haven't had to put them car seats in a while, even for my nephews. So anyways, I hope I covered a lot of stuff tonight. You can go to my page and on the community page. I'm going to try to play a video here at the very end and sign off. We'll see if I can come up with that without screwing it up. Keep dumping Flora, man. We're all over the place. By we, I mean us, like everyone that's like, been invested for whatever period of time. For me, it's probably only been maybe since last January. I'm not exactly sure. Something like that, but it's only been a little over a year. Some of you have been there longer, but keep putting it out. Keep putting it out. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any questions. What did I have here? Where they get the electrical? Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. So, thanks everyone for coming in tonight. I'm going to try to play this video. If I can't accomplish playing it, it's on my page. It's just a quick 1-minute thing I put together. And if anyone thinks of anything later, you could comment on a community page somewhere instead of the chat. Be easier to see, or email me, Kevlar148@hotmail.com, KEVLAR. Any information you have, you want to share, I'm always happy to get. I get stuff all the time. Of course, some great people with a ton of information out there. There's documents on Meow's Reddit. The docs, like the Delphi docs. He has like the Florida docs and stuff. Really, really good stuff. So dig in, see what you got. Look at the video. Share the video with people other firemen, see what they see. More eyes, the better, So that's what I think anyways. So I'm going to do my best now to do this switcheroony here, okay? And we'll see if I get this to play and make sure this is right. I'm even going to put this on my phone to make sure it's playing. So give me a second here. Give me 1 second. But like I said, worst case, if I screw it up, which it's absolutely possible I will, you just go to the page and watch it. It's a pretty cool video I put together. I'm getting good at these. Here goes nothing. So I'm guessing you just didn't see it, huh? I don't know. One of these days I'll figure it out. Me and Ruckus are like Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone when it comes to this. We'll figure it out. But anyways, yeah, check it out on my page real quick. Share the floor, share the floor, share the floor. We're getting close. Tag Fox, tag all them local stations, Twitters, everything like that. And there's a lot of good people putting out a lot of good information, a lot of passionate people, which is the most important thing. Keep saying their names. Let everybody know, okay? Hopefully you learned something tonight. Any more questions, message me. I had fun. Thank you all. And have a good rest of your Tuesday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. Oh, geez. All right, Coach Kev out.